At 98, I don't fear death. I fear wasted decades. 3 generations sit in front of me and I hear the same words I heard in 1965, in 1982, in 2001. I just need a few more years, then I'll relax. That sentence sounds responsible, it sounds disciplined, it sounds smart. It is the most expensive sentence a human being can say. Because while you are preparing to live, your life is already happening. And once it passes a certain point, you don't get to renegotiate the deal. The lie does not sound reckless. It sounds noble. I just need a few more years. Once the mortgage is handled, once the kids are grown, once I hit that number. That sentence feels responsible, mature, strategic. It is none of those things. It is a delay mechanism dressed up as discipline. I have watched men and women sacrifice their present for a future that kept moving the finish line. First it was the house, then it was the promotion, then it was the college fund, then it was retirement savings, then it was just one more good year. There is always one more condition before you allow yourself to live. You tell yourself this is temporary. It never is. Because here is what no one warns you about. The habit of postponing joy becomes permanent. You don't suddenly wake up at 65 and know how to enjoy life. You don't flip a switch at retirement and become present. You don't magically reconnect with a spouse you emotionally neglected for 30 years. You become what you practiced. If you practiced urgency, you stay urgent. If you practiced stress, you stay stressed. If you practiced absence, you remain absent. I saw this with my closest friend. Brilliant man, hard worker, provided everything. He used to say, when I slow down, I'll take her traveling. He retired at 68. She passed at 69. He had the money. He had the time. He did not have the chance. This is the trap. You believe you're building a better tomorrow, but tomorrow is not guaranteed. And worse, even when tomorrow comes, you may not be the same person anymore. Energy fades. Health shifts. People leave. Priorities harden. The version of you that wanted to live boldly at 45 is not the same version sitting quietly at 75. And the most painful realization I have witnessed across 3 generations is this. They did not lose because they were lazy. They lost because they waited. They kept preparing for a life they were already inside of. Failure does not ruin most lives. Success does. That surprises people. They think regret belongs to the ones who never achieved anything. It doesn't. The most dangerous place to stand is not at the bottom. It is in the middle of winning, because success makes the lie feel justified. You get promoted, you make more money, your house improves, people respect you, and you say, see, this is working. You double down and you sacrifice a little more time. You cancel one more dinner. You postpone one more trip. You miss one more ordinary Tuesday with your family. Not because you are cruel, because you are responsible. Because you are building something. And the world rewards you for it. That is what makes it lethal. When you are failing, you question your direction. When you are succeeding, you assume the direction must be right. I have watched men who were admired in public become strangers in their own homes. They told themselves it was temporary, but the promotion didn't calm life down. It accelerated it. More responsibility, more visibility, more pressure to maintain the image. Success does not reduce sacrifice. It demands more of it. And here is the quiet shift that happens without you noticing. Your identity becomes tied to being needed. You are the provider, the fixer, the strong one, the reliable one. So you keep proving it. You say, I'll rest when everything is secure. But security is a moving target. There's always another milestone, and while you are chasing stability, something invisible is slipping. Your children are aging. Your spouse is aging. You are aging. And aging does not wait for your schedule to clear. I have seen successful men retire with full bank accounts and empty rooms. Their children had already built lives without them. Their marriages had cooled into polite silence. Their bodies no longer allowed the adventures they postponed. They won the game. But they miss the point. Success is not the enemy, but when success becomes the excuse to delay living, it quietly becomes the thief. Nah. And here is the hardest truth I learned after watching 3 generations. The more capable you are, the easier it is to convince yourself you can fix it later. You can't. Time does not negotiate with competence. It never happens in a dramatic explosion. There is no trumpet, no warning siren. The realization arrives quietly, usually on an ordinary day. You wake up and your body feels heavier than it used to. Your energy does not return the way it once did. You look in the mirror and see time written across your face. And suddenly, you understand something you ignored for decades. There are fewer years ahead than behind. That math changes everything. I have watched this moment happen in hospital rooms, in retirement parties, at funerals, on quiet evenings when the house is too still. A man sits at his kitchen table after retirement. The alarm clock is gone, and the deadlines are gone, and the meetings are gone. He thought this would feel like freedom. Instead, it feels unfamiliar, because he built his entire identity around being busy. Now there is silence, and silence forces a question he avoided for 40 years. Who am I without the chase? Then the second realization comes. The people he postponed life for have moved on. His children do not need him the way they once did. His spouse has grown used to emotional distance. The energy to finally travel does not match the brochures. He says, if I had known. But he did know. He just believed there was more time. This is the cruel part. The moment you realize it is too late rarely means death is near. It means the window for certain experiences is closed. You can still live. But you cannot rewind. You cannot attend the soccer games you skipped. You cannot unsay the conversations you rushed. You cannot relive your strongest, healthiest years with new priorities. The body ages in one direction. Relationships age in one direction. Opportunities age in one direction. And the realization is not loud. It is a whisper that sounds like this. I thought I had more time. That sentence is the anthem of regret. I have heard it in different voices, different decades, different generations, but it always carries the same weight. Not anger at others, anger at themselves, because deep down, they knew they were postponing life. They just believed they would beat the clock. No one beats the clock. The clock does not speed up. You just notice it too late. There is only one thing that separates the people who regret their life from the ones who don't. It is not income. It is not luck. It is not intelligence. It is a decision. A quiet, internal decision that sounds like this. I will not postpone living anymore. That's it. Not a dramatic life overhaul. Not quitting your job tomorrow. Not reckless behavior. A refusal to delay what matters. The mistake is not working hard. The mistake is believing that meaning must wait. You can build and live at the same time, but only if you stop treating joy like a reward for survival. The decision changes your priorities immediately. You stop saying, one day. You start asking, why not now? You stop measuring life only in milestones. You start measuring it in presence. Presence at dinner, presence in conversation, presence in your own body. You stop using exhaustion as proof of importance. You stop worshiping busy. You stop sacrificing relationships on the altar of achievement. And here is the shift most people miss. The decision is internal before it is external. You don't have to move cities. You don't have to abandon responsibility. You have to abandon delay. You must decide that the chapter you're in right now is not rehearsal. This is not practice. This is not preparation. This is your life. Right here, right now. When I was in my 60s, I watched a friend change his path in a way most people would call small. He didn't quit his career. He simply stopped postponing connection. He left work on time twice a week. He scheduled trips before he felt ready. He spoke honestly instead of efficiently, nothing dramatic. But he lived differently. At 85, he did not talk about what he almost did. He talked about what he experienced. That is the difference. Not perfection, not wealth. experience, memory, connection. You cannot control how long you live, but you can control whether you are present while you're here. The decision is simple, brutal, uncomfortable, but powerful. Stop waiting for a future version of yourself to begin. Begin inside the life you already have, not next year, not after retirement, this week. Because if a decision does not change behavior quickly, it was never a real decision. Here is where you begin. First, cancel one unnecessary delay. There is something you have been postponing that does not require a lottery win, a new title, or perfect timing. A visit, a phone call, a conversation, a short trip, an honest apology. You are not waiting for resources. You are waiting for comfort. Do it uncomfortable. Second, leave something early. Leave work on time one day. Leave the office before exhaustion becomes your identity. Leave the conversation about someday and replace it with a plan for this month. You must prove to yourself that productivity is not your master. If you cannot step away for a few hours without guilt, that is not discipline. That is dependence. Third, schedule life before you schedule ambition. Open your calendar. Look at it honestly. Does it reflect your values or your fears? If everything meaningful is squeezed into leftovers, you are still postponing. Block time for something that strengthens a relationship. Block time for your body. Block time for presence. If it is not scheduled, it will be sacrificed. Fourth, say the sentence you've been avoiding. I miss you. I'm sorry. I need to slow down. This matters more than the promotion. Most people do not regret working. They regret what they did not say. And finally, kill the phrase, once things settle down. Things do not settle. They shift. You're not waiting for calm. You're waiting for control, and control is an illusion that consumes decades. This week is a test, not of your ambition, not of your courage. Can you choose presence while you are still strong? Can you enjoy the chapter you're in without needing it to be perfect? Because if you cannot do it now, you will not magically do it later. Later does not change your habits. It only exposes them. You're not 25. You are not starting from scratch. You are not early. You are in the middle. And the middle is where most people quietly lose control of their life without realizing it. Look at your calendar. Look at your routine. Look at how you spend your evenings. Does it look like someone who understands time is limited? Or does it look like someone who believes they are immune to aging? I am 98. I am not speaking from theory. I am speaking from watching men cry in their 70s because they finally understood what they traded away. They did not mean to waste their lives. They just kept postponing it. You are doing the same thing right now. You are telling yourself, after this quarter, after the kids graduate, after things calm down. They will not calm down. Life does not arrive neatly packaged. It happens in the middle of chaos. And if you cannot live inside the chaos now, you will never live. Stop preparing for a future version of yourself. That person does not exist. There is only the version of you sitting here today. You have energy today. You have relationships today. You have choices today. What you do not have is unlimited time. Do not become the person who looks back and says, I thought I had more. You already know what matters. You already know what you've been delaying. The question is not whether you understand this message. The question is whether you are brave enough to act on it before the clock moves again. Because it will move. It always does. And one day you will be the one sitting at the table, looking at the next generation, wondering whether they will listen.